Welcome to Kickin' with the Rickens, redefining retirement. Gerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you retire with purpose and live with joy. Find more information, including how to reach the team, in today's show notes. Now, Kickin' with the Rickens, powered by Ricken Financial.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for listening to Kick In with the Rickens podcast. We are here with licensed insurance professional Gerry Ricken. My name is Mark Owens. We invite you to get more at rickenfinancial.com. You can get all the information here in the show notes. Thanks again for subscribing. Now, let's get to the show. How you doing this weekend?
You know, everything is great in St. Louis, Mark.
Before we get rolling here, I just want to double check on the team at Ricken Financial. We know this time of the year, beautiful chaos in a good way with the tax return day, tax day behind us now. How's everything going?
You know, everything's great because we cut back on our tax preparation. We only do it for our clients, and we know pretty much exactly what their tax return is going to look like because we help them prepare and plan for their tax life. So when we see the tax return, it's pretty simple to do. But it's our least favorite time of year is just saying what happened last year.
Right.
Our favorite time of year is what's happening in the future with taxes. But you know what? It's all good. It's all good to have that behind us.
Good.
And off to another year.
Here we go. All right, rickenfinancial.com. We invite you to reach out at any time, 314-207-6211. Want to continue our conversation. We've been having this over the past couple of weeks, some of the biggest myths and misconceptions in retirement, and got a lot of good feedback about this, so we want to continue on. Some of the things that adults hear or adults think that could be misconstrued as you're putting a retirement strategy together. And I just want to start off at the top on this one, Gerry. Those adults that think, Gerry, I can do all of this by myself. Boy, that's a big misconception in retirement.
Some people do believe they can do it all by themselves, but unfortunately, if you do it by yourself, if you're a DIYer, and I DIY a lot of home projects because I know how to do things, but if it's beyond my scope, I hire someone. And I believe retirement planning is pretty much beyond your scope unless you do it for a living. And I say that because if you are a DIYer and you do it yourself, you just simply don't have access to or knowledge of all the available avenues that you can take when you're planning for your retirement, when you're in your retirement, and after you're gone from this earth. So when I say you don't have access to it, it's because, our industry is so large and so complex that someone from the outside looking in simply doesn't have access because primarily they're not licensed to provide the products or services that you need. You probably don't know the tax code like we know the tax code. And the tax code is really designed to help you, not to hurt you. And a lot of people don't understand that aspect of retirement planning as well. Because when we look at your investments, and we are your investment manager and your portfolio manager, that's just one small piece of retirement planning. And when we say I'll do it by myself, a lot of people just think that's it. That's what I need to focus on is my investment portfolio.
Right.
There's much more to your investment portfolio than just simply rates of return. We all can get the rates of return out there because the assets are the same. It's how you structure those assets and make sure that your risk tolerance matches the way you're investing. But the other thing we want to make sure that you know about is your tax risk. Not just your investment risk, but what's your tax risk in how you're investing. And people don't really understand that as much as they need to, because it is a huge part of your retirement life. Taxes will be the biggest expense in your lifetime.
Yeah.
So why not work with someone who can help you mitigate those in the future, reduce those in the future? And it's all a matter of timing when you pay the tax. People say, well, work with us, you'll be tax-free in retirement. Well, what they're missing is, yes, you can get tax-free in retirement, but you have to go through a lot of steps. And it's a matter of when you pay the tax so that you can eventually get tax-free in retirement. But those plans are available out there, and to do it yourself is really, really difficult because you just don't understand the nuances that are available not only in the tax code, but also in all the investments. A lot of people want to stay in their 401k or in their IRA account, and they're self-managing the IRA account, but they don't know what else is available besides mutual funds, stocks, and bonds. There are lots and lots of other opportunities that you can put into your portfolio that will help you, guide you to and through in retirement and really meet that risk tolerance that you have.
Talk about some of the myths and misconceptions in retirement planning. All right, here's another one. Always thinking about income in retirement. And Gerry, those that say, an annuity, that's a great investment for non-qualified funds.
Well, let's break it down. Let's talk about what a non-qualified fund is first. A non-qualified fund is something other than an IRA or a 401k. It is something you have already paid tax on, the principal, and you're investing that money. Well, if you've already paid tax, and a lot of people have not paid tax on a lot of their investment funds, their 401ks, their IRAs. And as a result, they're looking at a huge tax burden in the future when they become the age that the IRS says you must take money out of these accounts now and pay tax on them. And that is either the age 73 or the age 75. If you were born before 1960, you must start taking money out of your deferred accounts, your IRAs, your 401ks at age 73. If you're born in 1960 or later, that age is now 75. When you turn 73 or 75, you're going to have to take what is called a required minimum distribution out of your portfolio. And what happens is then that becomes taxable, and it adds to your taxable income that year. And it may drive up things like your Medicare premiums that you weren't really anticipating. So we want to make sure that we work a lot to reduce that burden. So if you take an annuity and use it for non-qualified funds, those things that are not IRA or 401k equivalent, you've already paid tax on this, you put that in an annuity, guess what you're doing? You're creating the same tax problem that you have in your IRA or 401k because you're deferring the tax. An annuity allows you to defer the tax on money that has already been taxed, and defer the tax on the earnings. Well, then all of a sudden, when you take that money out of that annuity, the first money that comes out is the taxable interest on your annuity. So you're creating a tax problem in the future that you would not otherwise have currently. So we like to use annuities for not non-qualified funds, but for qualified funds, the 401k and the IRA money, because that makes sense to us from a tax perspective.
And it's all about income in retirement. You make fun of me every week because what's the one line I say?
Well, here's what you always say about income. You say income is the outcome that matters most in retirement. And I believe that. And if you believe that too, and if you saved at least $500,000 or more in retirement, please call us at 314-207-6211. We can put that income plan together and show you that you will never run out of income. As long as you have blood pressure, we want you to have income. And it's a pretty simple plan to put together if you know how to do it.
Gerry, this is a good one here because a lot of adults think, hey, you know what? I'm just going to wait until the age of 67 to fully retire. That's when I'm going to shut it down because that's my FRA. That's my full retirement age. How can that be a misconception? How can that be a dangerous way of thinking?
Well, a lot of people just believe that I'm going to retire at 67 or 66 and 10 months, 66 and 8 months, whatever it is. I'm going to retire at 67 on Friday, and on Monday, I'll start drawing my Social Security benefits. Those two dates never have to go together. If they go together, you are allowing the Social Security Administration, the federal government, to dictate when you retire. People have been indoctrinated that full retirement means, oh my gosh, I get all my benefits at that point in time. Well, that's the point in time. Full retirement age in the Social Security Administration is the point in time in which you're not docked for taking benefits earlier than that age. But your benefits can continue to increase beyond your full retirement age up until the age of 70. At age 70, that's when your maximum benefits are available. And you must apply for those at age 70. They just simply won't come to you. You must apply for your Social Security benefits at age 70. But between the ages 66 and 70, Mark, Social Security increases by a guaranteed 8% per year. That's a guaranteed 8% per year. Where on earth can you get a guaranteed 8% per year in any investment.
And my body mass index seems to go up about 8% per year. But I think
and that's something that maybe you may be able to control in the future. But for now, what we're talking about is a guaranteed 8%. Well, we can't get a guaranteed 8% in anything. If we were back in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, when interest rates were, the Federal Reserve interest rate was 20%, and we could get a CD at 20%, yeah, maybe that would make sense to take that earlier and let our investments ride. But a guaranteed 8% we don't see right now because interest rates are lower. Not only do you get the guaranteed 8% per year, but you also have a cost of living adjustment inside the system that is prevalent each year. Mm-hmm. Now, in the year 2026, the cost of living adjustment was 2.8%. So those people who deferred their Social Security benefits from last year to this year got a 10.8% bump in their benefit. That's the 8% plus the 2.8% of cost of living adjustment. So the guarantee plus the cost of living adjustment. Well, you can't get 10.8% anywhere either. You can't get 8%. You can't get 10. You're lucky to get 2.8%, So the point is you need to really have an analysis performed on when to draw Social Security benefits. Social Security benefits are based on each individual's 35 highest earning years of their lifetime. And those are marked to inflation, the cost of living adjustment. They're adjusted for inflation. Whatever the cost of living adjustment the Social Security system used that year, that factors into this as well. So if you just think about the highest 35 earning years in your life, what were those? When were those? And it may be that it may work out the best that you do retire on Friday and draw them on Monday at age 67, but that may not necessarily be the best idea for you. So whether you're a single person or a married couple, the analysis works the same way. The only difference is the break even for a married couple is what happens with your family, with survivor benefits. We want to make sure that your survivor benefits are accounted for in this analysis as well. So we run these analysis all the time for people. And if you'd be interested in a Social Security time analysis, that's part of our overall plan, the purpose approach. Please call us at 314-207-6211. If you've saved $500,000 or more in your lifetime and want to look at Social Security in retirement, how that impacts your overall plan, we'd love to hear from you.
And of course, you can always get more at rickenfinancial.com.
And the other thing about Social Security, you got to be careful when you draw it, because if you draw it right away, you may be leaving money on the table. If you draw it too soon, you may have to pay some back. There are all kinds of idiosyncrasies in that system that you need to be cognizant of. And then we can't forget the taxation of Social Security and how that works. So if you'd like to learn more about that, we'd love to educate you so you can make the most informed decision that is possible for you and your family when it comes to Social Security benefits.
Another myth, another misconception that a lot of adults may have to and through retirement, Gerry, is that, you know what? It's pointless to really contribute into my Roth 401k at this stage of my career. It's too late. How is that a misconception?
Well, a lot of people just really don't understand what the Roth can do for you. And a lot of those people are the people who were working well before the Roth IRA and 401k came into existence. So all they know is the traditional route, that money that you get a tax break when you put it in, then you defer the tax and defer the tax on the amount of money that you put in and defer the tax on the growth until you take the money out. And the government dictates when you take the money out as well. When you are reached the age of 73 or 75, when you have to take money out based on your required minimum distributions. It is a myth that says, hey, I've always been doing it this way. I'm just going to continue on the traditional route. What we need you to consider is taxation in retirement. Taxation in retirement can be the biggest price tag of any item you'll spend money on. Mm-hmm. If we can focus on reducing that for the future, you're going to be better off because more money will go into your pocket than into the IRS's pocket. And I don't know which pocket you'd rather put that money into.
True.
But I know a lot of people will say, no, I'd rather have it in my pocket than in the IRS's pocket. Well, how do you do that? You take advantage of the Roth option. The Roth option says that money that I'm putting into a Roth, I'm going to pay tax on it now. Then I will put it into the Roth 401k, and it will grow tax deferred. And when I pull the money out, it's going to be tax free. And when I say tax free, any amount you pull out of this will be tax free as long as it's been in existence for 5 years and you're over 59 and a half. Any money you pull out, whether it's principal or earnings, will come out tax free. And I don't know about you, but when I'm retired and I have the opportunity to take money out of an account, would I'd rather take money out of an account where I pay taxes on all of it, ordinary income taxes on all of it, or taxes on none of it? I would rather have the money to myself and not have to pay the IRS a portion of that, a pretty large portion of that when I retire. And that's why it is never too late to look at a Roth option, especially in the 401k world. Let's say you're still working, you're getting a match. A lot of companies will provide the match in the traditional account. Some companies will actually allow you to put the match into the Roth account inside your 401k, but with one caveat: you pay the tax on that amount. You pay the tax on the match, and you pay the tax on the amount you pay in. But that may be an option. If that option exists, I would love to have a conversation with you to see if that makes sense for you, because any amount you can put into an account that becomes tax-free in retirement is a dollar well spent.
Great point. 314-207-6211. A couple of minutes left here talking about some of the biggest myths and misconceptions in retirement. Speaking of being taxed, how about those that think I'll be taxed on 100% of my inheritance? How is that a myth, Gerry?
Well, a lot of people just don't understand how taxation works when you inherit funds. And fortunately or unfortunately for several of our clients, they have inherited funds. But unfortunately, they've lost a loved one, but they left something behind for their beneficiaries. And when you receive money in an inheritance, you are taxed on two things. You're taxed on IRA money, 401k money. If that passes on to you, you're taxed on that. You're taxed on the growth of a deferred annuity. You're taxed on that. Other than that, everything else is really coming to you without any imposition of taxes. And when I say that, income taxes is what we're talking about. Estate planning taxes, we'll talk about that later on. But I'm talking about income taxes here. And when I say, why is it that I don't pay tax on a lot of what I inherit? Well, we have something called the step up in basis in the Internal Revenue Code. And a step up in basis means that on the date of your loved one's passing, whatever that asset was valued at on that date, that now becomes your amount that you won't pay tax on. Any growth above that, you'll pay tax on it. So let's say you inherited a home. It was worth $400,000. You sold it for $400,000. You had some expenses along the way. That actually may be a loss for you because you don't get $400,000 as net proceeds. You have some expenses. You get to write those expenses off on your income taxes. So there are a lot of things that you need to really look at, and we can help you through that as well, because a lot of people say, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do now. I'm going to be in a world of hurt because I got all this inheritance. Well, it may not necessarily be taxed at the level you think it's going to be taxed at.
They live here, they work here, they play here. They are proud to support St. Louis, the families in the surrounding area. We invite you to reach out this weekend to 314-207-6211. Again, 314-207-6211, or online at rickenfinancial.com. Well, Gerry, as always, thank you for the information and the education this week. We are back next weekend, but before we get out of here, Gerry Ricken, take us home.
Every day is a holiday. Life is short. Laugh hard.
This has been Kickin' with the Rickens, redefining retirement.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.